Ohio Supreme Court Justice Bill O'Neill makes an announcement about the status of his gubernatorial campaign. Fires in Southern California continue to cause devastation with no sign of stopping.
And in sports, two undefeated teams in the TVC Ohio met up in Albany. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Athens police arrested two men yesterday morning on drug charges after a search warrant was executed at an apartment on Mill Street. Good evening, I'm Jacob Solother. Thanks for joining us. Athens County Major Crimes Unit said in a news release, police arrested 21-year-olds Cody L. Wooton and Zach L. Vaughn on the scene of trafficking a controlled substance. Police seized more than $1,200 worth of drugs, including 300 bars of Xanax and a ledger book with recorded transactions. Both were taken to Southeastern Ohio Regional Jail. Ohio Supreme Court Justice Bill O'Neill now says he's staying in the race to be Ohio's governor, despite saying he'd leave the race if Richard Cordray runs. O'Neill says Cordray and the other Democratic candidates are not embracing his plan to legalize marijuana and fight opioids, so he's saying he's going to do it himself. Cordray is expected to raise a lot of money for his campaign, but O'Neill says he's not worried.
I'm not worried about money, but more importantly, this is the governor's race. I'll raise money and I will match Rich Cordray dollar for dollar.
The Ohio State Bar Association released a statement today calling for O'Neill to resign immediately from the Ohio Supreme Court. O'Neill is the only Democrat on the state's high court, and his replacement would be picked by Republican Governor John Kasich. This week we heard from two sexual assault survivors and what their experiences were like. Today, Newswatch reporter Abby Grisey looks into workplace sexual harassment and the power dynamics that play into it.
When news broke last week about Matt Lauer's firing from the Today Show for sexual misconduct, Ohio University graduate and Houston Chronicle reporter Alex Stuckey started tweeting.
I would like to say that I'm over what it did to me, but I'm definitely not. I was getting attention for things that had nothing to do with my abilities. And so I really felt like, okay, maybe I'm not that great at this. Maybe I'm not doing enough.
Alex says she was sexually harassed during a college internship. It ranged from colleagues making inappropriate comments about how she dressed to a male reporter sending her creepy messages. Alex says her tweet was her way of bringing to light the issue of sexual harassment of college interns. She says interns are in an awkward position where they may not want to create issues with a potential employer.
If you don't want it to be a thing and you just want it to stop, there needs to be someone who can sort of help you with that, I think.
Matthew Hall works in a number of areas related to sexual misconduct prevention at Ohio University and says that power dynamic is problematic.
When you have someone in an authority position, someone who has positional power, like a professor or like a boss, do you ever actually feel like you can say no?
Legally, there are two types of sexual harassment: quid pro quo and a hostile work environment. Quid pro quo is like, if you give me this, then I'll give you that. A hostile work environment is one where sexual-based behavior is so prevalent, it negatively affects the victim's job performance. In Alex's case, she didn't speak up about the hostile work environment.
I think a lot of times there is fear about not being believed or being blamed.
This is something that happens in the corners of the office, and you're sort of conditioned not to talk about it. This fear that I think is finally going away, but this fear that you will be punished for this. This fear that you're overreacting. We've been conditioned to think that what we're experiencing isn't real.
Moving forward, OU is challenging this culture of sexual harassment at the campus level. The School of Media Arts and Studies is creating a statement to put on syllabi that addresses sexual harassment. And journalism school director Bob Stewart, in partnership with Alex, is starting a task force to protect student interns. For WOUB News, I'm Abby Grisey.
The Student Media Leaders Task Force will meet on January 16th at 7 a.m. You can find more on these stories about sexual harassment and misconduct on Ohio University's campus on our website at woub.org.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm Matt Thigpen. Right now in Athens, we're seeing chilly conditions, 25 degrees. The south winds aren't a warm one. Coming out of the south at 5 miles per hour. We're seeing cloudy conditions as the sun has set about an hour and a half ago. We see that dew point about 14 degrees, so it's pretty dry out there. 20s, mid to upper 20s for most of the region. Ripley at 27, 25 over in Ironton, and 26 again here in Athens, 25 in New Martinsville, and 23 in Cambridge is our colder spot, in our state's capital in Columbus, 26 degrees. Again, we have those cloudy skies into much of our region. That'll help to keep us warm for just a couple more hours, and then we'll slowly dip into the teens as we head into the early morning hours. 7 p.m. we see 25 degrees, some clouds, 24 degrees. Skies will begin to clear, and we'll see another cold night and morning. How about that, Jacob?
Ooh, I'm not looking forward to those those cold temperatures. Thanks, Matt. It's been nearly a week since the Senate passed the GOP tax reform bill, but analysis from the Congressional Budget Office suggests the legislation may not benefit local Appalachian taxpayers. According to the CBO's analysis, those earning more than $30,000 a year will not benefit from the new tax plan. An analysis done by the New York Times found the legislation may impede local and state governments' revenue funding for services like healthcare, public safety, and public education. The GOP plans to present the bill to the president before the end of the year. Police in Northern Ohio say they busted an 18-year-old girl and a 10-year-old boy for stealing delivered packages. 18-year-old Corey Whalen of Kirtland is charged with theft, receiving stolen property, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Whalen admitted to driving around Lake County communities with her 10-year-old brother and 14-year-old sister while stealing any packages they came across. Lake County officials say they found more than 20 packages containing about $1,200 in goods in the car that they were caught in.
It just boggles your mind, doesn't it, that you would take your brother and your sister in the holiday season when you should be teaching them the right things to do and teach them the wrong things to do. It's mind-boggling.
Authorities say the case illustrates why law enforcement is encouraging consumers who are not at home to have their packages delivered to their workplace. The 10-year-old child was referred to the Lake County Juvenile Court, and no word on the adults legally responsible for the two minor children. Indiana State Police say a 17-year-old runaway is lucky to be alive after going for a ride on a semi-truck. Authorities say the teen, a runaway from Shelby, Ohio, hopped on the truck in Louisville, Kentucky, riding between the cab and the trailer. He held on for more than 50 miles before an inspector at a weigh station spotted him and then told state troopers.
Straight down the ramp, we got the truck stopped in the ramp, and the kid was gone. So we started searching him in the truck, and he actually climbed under the truck.
Authorities took the teen to a juvenile center and contacted his parents. Peaceful protests occur in the Middle East over President Trump's recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. This story and more when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Wildfires continue to spread in Southern California as firefighters are working around the clock to control the blazes. Omar Jimenez shows us the latest conditions in the area.
The sheer size of the California wildfires paired with unfavorable conditions is creating a tough environment for officials on the ground. The Thomas Fire alone, the biggest of the 6 blazes raging in Southern California, is more than twice the size of Washington, D.C., and is the biggest fire Los Angeles has battled since 1961. At least 190,000 people have been evacuated from their homes.
We're with you all the way. It's a long process to recovery. It's very painful. It's very emotional to be losing your home.
5,700 firefighters are working to contain these blazes. On Friday, President Donald Trump approved an emergency declaration, freeing up federal funds. 1,300 California National Guardsmen have been activated, and officials warn even when the fire is out, the danger's still there.
All these burning stumps and logs, you get any kind of wind on those, and all it takes is one ember to jump that road, and we're off and running again.
It doesn't get any easier from here, with wind gusts in the region up to 60 miles per hour and dry conditions continuing throughout the weekend. The potential for the fires to get worse before they get better is very real. In Southern California, I'm Omar Jimenez.
The fires have been so extreme that officials have amended the color coding system to include purple as the most severe weather indicator. Thousands demonstrated peacefully in Lebanon today, protesting President Donald Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Ben Wiedemann shows us what the demonstrations are like in the ground in Beirut.
In Beirut, they're protesting to a different drummer. One of several demonstrations in Lebanon over President Trump's decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Thousands, Lebanese and Palestinians, turned out, mobilized by one of the few issues people in this region, riven by divisions, can agree upon. We should thank Trump, says 13-year-old Ghofran, because he united the Arabs and the Muslims to fight Israel. It hasn't come to that yet, though the option of less peaceful means is never far away. Arm us, these young men chant, and send us to the border. But this protest was peaceful. And here, as elsewhere, frustration that Arab leaders, who are presented in the official media as wise and strong and respected, are impotent and ignored when it comes to dealing with the United States. We never bet on the Arab regime, says activist Raji al-Hakim. 3/4 of those who claim to be Arab leaders carry foreign passports. They marched, they waved Palestinian flags, then they went home.
There are more demonstrations planned. Sunday outside the U.S. Embassy in Beirut. Monday, Hezbollah is planning a massive demonstration in the southern suburbs. The question is, are these demonstrations just a flash in the pan or the beginning of something much bigger? Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Beirut.
Protests have occurred across the Middle East in response to Trump's decision, as well as in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Pakistan. 31 lawmakers sent a letter to the leaders of the U.S. House and Senate, urging them to discard a provision that would tax graduate students' tuition waivers as income. The provision was included in the recently passed tax reform bill. Ohio lawmakers Steve Stivers and Bill Johnson both signed the letter condemning the provision. Of snowfall tomorrow, some southern parts of the country are experiencing heavy snowfalls, where the snow is expected to travel after the break.
And we'll see a cold night tonight. We'll see that chance, like Jacob said, coming up in my 7-day forecast. But first, we'll take a look at stocks of local interest.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
The student body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm Matt Thigpen. Right now in Athens, we see 25 degrees. Again, we see those cloudy conditions dominating much of the region. We barely saw that sun come out today. Seeing those south winds pumping in some little bit of warmer air at 5 miles per hour. Looking across the region, we're in the mid to upper 20s, 25 down in Jackson, 27 down in Ironton, 26 up in Columbus. Well, will these temperatures stick around? Look what we did for the high today, 29 degrees. We hit a low this morning. It was bone-chilling cold, 17 degrees. I walked outside from my class, and I got my jacket this time, so I got it. Don't you worry. But taking a look at our precipcast, we're just going to tell you where the snow is coming from, our first maybe accumulating snow of the season for our region. We're going to see this Alberta clipper that came up from Canada, and it's going to swing down through the Great Lakes, and it'll give us the chance for some squally snow showers, and it'll just swing past Chicago, and it'll take its time as it moves into western Ohio and even into West Virginia before dissipating, heading into the northeast. So we're going to take a look at when this is going to happen. 19 to start your morning if you're headed out to go eat breakfast pretty early, 8 a.m., 19 degrees. Brr, that's cold. 29 by noon, we start to warm up, and we hit 33 with the snow showers start to approach the region from the west, northwest, and by 4 p.m. 40% chance by that time. So what are we going to get? Well, here it is. Across the region, we'll see about an inch to the north, and not like it may be a dusting to the south, and even to the south, it might not even stick because the ground is just so warm. We might not even see that accumulation stick down here to our southern counties. Even here in Athens, the ground is still quite warm, sitting around 38 degrees. Across the region for tomorrow, we'll hit 35 degrees before those snow showers move in, 36 in Ironton, and 35 in Chillicothe. We'll see peaks of sun and clouds and before those snow showers arrive tomorrow, 35 at New Lexington. So we'll be into the mid-30s once again. So it'll be a nice day before those snow showers move in. Again, we hit Athens, 35 degrees. Snow showers begin about 4 p.m. and continuing through the night in intensity. It'll be squally, so they'll hit a big burst. 24 degrees for our hour by hour tonight, 19 by midnight, and 17 by 4 a.m. There's the cold conditions moving into our region. Overnight tonight, we'll be in the teens, 17 here in Athens, 20 in Columbus is actually our warmer spot in the city, 19 down in Ironton, and 18 over here in Marietta. Tonight in Athens is 17 degrees, clear skies as we move closer to midnight, and then that'll drop our temperatures nice and dandy. Looking at our extended forecast, 33 on Sunday. We see those snow showers mainly in the mornings. They'll get out of here. Monday, we see 41 degrees on Monday. And for next week, we got to watch Tuesday as our next chance for accumulating snow. Snow has been falling in the south this week. Large snowflakes hit the ground across southern Texas, including San Antonio and Austin. Snow is expected to travel even further south in the Lone Star State this week. It is projected to hit Corpus Christi, and Brownsville. Now to you, Jacob.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Joseph Payton. Tonight in sports, find out who the Cleveland Browns have hired as their new general manager. And in women's high school basketball, we had two big matchups in the TVC Ohio last night. We'll show you just who came out on the winning side of the scoreboard. Now, stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Body here at Ohio University absolutely is a family.
The students support one another.
You become this unit, this big, friendly family unit.
There's this connectedness.
You feel a part of something.
Driving in on the highway and just seeing the red bricks and the trees again, it's just like coming back home.
There's great students, great professors.
You just walk around campus and think, oh my gosh, I can't believe I go here.
I feel like I matter in the community, and I feel like I matter here at Ohio University.
It's home. Athens is home.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, this is it. And she said, the tour's just started. I said, no, you don't understand. This is it.
Welcome back. I'm Joseph Payton. Last night, the Alexander Lady Spartans welcomed Vinton County into the Alley. Both teams were undefeated entering the game, but it was Vinton County who would stay that way, winning 39-32. Cassie Bentley led the charge for the Lady Vikings with 17 points and 7 boards. Her sister, Morgan Bentley, added 12 points and 5 rebounds. Alexander relied heavily on junior guard Rachel Richardson on the offensive end. Richardson had a pretty good game. She poured in 24 of the team's 32 points, but it would not be enough as the Lady Spartans saw their 17-game conference winning streak come to an end. Both teams are back at it again on Monday as Alexander plays River Valley and Vinton County plays Athens. And two other TVC Ohio teams met up last night as well. in Wellston, the Nelsonville York Lady Buckeyes were in action against the Golden Rockets. The Lady Buckeyes got it done on defense, forcing 20 turnovers, en route to a 35-28 win. Senior guard Jessie Addis, she has been a huge part of this Nelsonville York offense her whole career, and last night was no different. She scored 13 of her team's 18 first-half points. She finished the game with 17 points and 6 steals. Addis and the Buckeyes, they now have a date with the Trimble Lady Tomcats tomorrow night. Now, moving over into the college basketball world. The Ohio Bobcats, they had a tough time last night against Maryland. The Bobcats came out on the wrong end of an 87-62 score that saw Maryland's Michael Tchaikovsky shoot a perfect percentage from the floor. The 7-foot senior from Slovakia was 6 of 6 from the field and 100% from the free throw line. A perfect night for him. He dropped 15 points on the Bobcats. In Ohio, they did not have anyone on the court over 6 foot 9 inches tall, so Tchaikovsky was a huge matchup issue out there for them. The Bobcats now look to bounce back in the convo on Sunday against Western Kentucky. Heading into professional basketball now, the Cleveland Cavaliers, they will look to keep their winning ways rolling tonight. Cleveland is on the road tonight against the Indiana Pacers, set for a 7 p.m. tip-off time. The Cavs are currently riding a 13-game winning streak, and win number 13 of that streak came 2 nights ago when the Cavs beat the Kings thanks to a 32-point game from the King himself, Mr. LeBron James. Back on November 1st, though, the Cavs fell to the Pacers, 124-107. The Cavs, they'll now try to avenge that early November loss to the Pacers and extend their already impressive win streak. And in other news in Cleveland, yesterday the Browns, they fired Sashi Brown from his position as general manager. Shortly after, they found their new man and hired John Dorsey. Dorsey last worked as the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs from 2013 to 2016, when his contract was surprisingly not renewed. The Browns hope Dorsey's experience in evaluating talent will help Hugh Jackson find the players he needs to fit his system and be successful. Dorsey also previously played and worked as a scout for the Green Bay Packers and served as director of player personnel for the Seattle Seahawks. And the government has decided to drop plans to go after retirement funds for a former Ohio State and NFL quarterback. Art Schlichter, he had a stellar collegiate career but has since been plagued with off-the-field issues ever since. Schlichter is currently serving an 11-year sentence on federal fraud charges and owes $2.2 million from judgments against him in 2 separate criminal cases. Prosecutors sought money out of his 2 NFL retirement funds, but they've now determined that there is no money in those funds. So this is why the plan has been dropped. Well, I'm Joseph Payton. That's it for sports tonight. Back over to you, Jacob.
An Arizona police force used a Christmas icon when trying to warn people about holiday thefts in a PSA this year. Who better than the Grinch to spread the message from the Tucson Police Department? The video shows a slinking Grinch-like character played by a Tucson officer rifling through belongings in parked cars before the cops came and arrived to take him away. Police are hoping the video will encourage locals to lock their cars when shopping, saying officers can't be everywhere at once.
I'm looking at a white Christmas across most of the region. I just wanted to take a quick peek at our region. Right now, we have a 40% chance into northern Ohio, but if you want to see that white Christmas, at least an inch of snow on the ground, you're going to have to go up into the northern UP of Michigan, up into New England even. So we only have probably about a 20% chance, and that, even with this cold weather, might not even happen. Looking at our extended forecast, 33 on Sunday, right as the snow showers begin to end Sunday morning. We'll hit a low of 25 in the morning, 41 we warm up back to 41 degrees, 31 comes to our next snow chances. We'll have to keep an eye on that, Jacob.
Thanks, Matt. Now, wow, that's an ugly Christmas sweater if I've ever seen one. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Jacob Solether. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.